set the clock at 7:45 a.m., y'all. Better to get up.
What is your warm up like? How do you care for your instrument at 72?
There's no warm
There's no
up.
warm up. Your voice is do you check? Do you do like your high note? You're like, do I have the highest note? Do I have the
Forget
lowest
about
note?
the high
I'm
note. The high note kind of drops down in the middle now. At 72, your timbre starts to change.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's like, you know, you work with what you got.
Yeah.
And like me, I had some medical problems in the early 2000s when I was in my 50s. No one told me that I had to tell the doctors, oh, you're a singer. And so when they put me under, they injured me a little bit.
Oh no.
And I had to drop my timbre more so toward like an alto.
Yeah.
Because usually they would bring me in to do the whole register.
And this is in the early 2000s, right? As Queer as Folk is really like hitting in culture, and you were handicapped from it a bit.
But it was something because I was talking. You know, I thought that it was the craziest thing that I could ever do after singing for 40 years during that time, babe.
Yeah.
Because I started in high school.
So you started in high school and in Kentucky. Where are you from?
I'm a military brat.
Okay.
Army.
Okay.
25 years my father was in, and I would sing with the troops on the post in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. They call it misery now. So it's like, you know, you have to work with what you got there too. But I was a teenager, who knew?
So you were always entertaining people. On the
Always.
bass, you were always.
My mom,
That's your.
I was very lucky to have a mother and a dad that would allow me to order records through the mail. Columbia House had a range.
Yes.
You remember?
I still owe them money.
No, you don't. You know you do. You know.
She's still there for Blockbuster.
Yes. Columbia House and BMI, baby.
You're probably like, I'm right behind you. You know, every time I hear Redbone, come and get your love.
Yes.
That was one of the bands that I would get through Columbia House. They were that eclectic back then.
So when did you get your first like singing gig? Like where was that at and what were you doing?
Oh my goodness. Well, the real professional one was when, by then, I had married my high school sweetheart, at the time. Y'all back there laughing.
We're actually going to touch on that.
You can't judge a book by its cover.
We gotta talk about that.
You know that. So, you know, when I married my high school sweetheart, he went on into the Air Force. He was on the draft board, high number, so he knew he was going to be drafted. So he went into the Air Force. I went and did a year of college in Missouri, of all places, which was very conservative at that time. We're talking 71, 72. And during that time, I was really singing with the radio, and then I started with they call it special services for people like me who were like entertainers or kids who were into the sports. You would go and sign up and start singing. So I was almost like a Gloria Estefan, which I didn't know. She was also running around all the different military bases during that time.
Yeah.
Her and Emilio. And I just started and kept going. And then when I finally got married, we moved to California because both of our fathers had retired out of the Army. And I became a house studio singer in Monterey, California.
Okay, so yes, I found this part wildly interesting. Can we talk about some of the house like sessions and some of the people you worked with here? Because when I was telling Vanity backstage, she was like, "Oh, we need to hear these stories." All right, so explain to us what that means. Like, I'm not in the music, I don't really understand. So you're singing, you're doing demos so that these people can hear what it sounds like, and you're the voice that they're learning their own songs in?
Exactly, darling. And what was happening at that time when I got to Monterey, a lot of the English groups, like the Moody Blues, well, at that time it was a group called the Mark Allman Band, which was really the bomb. they would hire me to come in and do their demos, and then they liked me so much, some of them would keep me on the master track. And it became a thing where I could just sing, and that's how Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo found me.
Okay. So, what were you doing with Tina, Cher, Celine Dion?
Okay. That's after I moved to Los Angeles from Vegas, because I had put in 3 years of stage work, working the stage, because when you're in the studio, you don't get a chance to relate to the crowd.
What's the craziest shit you saw in Vegas while you were performing?
Babe, babe, I don't know if y'all were ever in that area at the time. They had this mafioso, when you asked me, his name was Frank. I don't know his last name, but he was major. He was, y'all, I kept my nose clean. No, I wasn't going, because he had a talk show, y'all, at the time. And you'd be hearing all these stories coming in from the federal government of Anthony Spilatro. He killed somebody and put them in a cornfield. It reminded me of that movie.
Oh my God!
Wish him in the cornfield, darling. Wish him in the cornfield.